Hi, welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to do a live stream, go over exactly why Lucid's going down, do some technical analysis, give you some data points, everything that you need to know about Lucid, and ultimately where it's going. So with that said, I'm going to do a little bit of Q&A near the end. So if you have any comments, questions, anything like that, leave them in the comments below. I can definitely address them. But with that said, let's get right into it. So couple things I do want to point out. First and foremost, a lot of volume when it comes to Lucid. That is key, and I think is very pivotal for the whole overall health of Lucid. So as of right now, you can see about 186 million shares being traded, whereas the average is 53. Average is starting to pick back up, but that is good, especially when it comes to Lucid. Shows that there is a lot of individuals physically wanting to get in. And I'm going to quickly show you this because, like I said, data points and all that fun stuff. And I've been bringing up almost every video, institutional ownership, so hedge funds, institutions, everything like that. There is more and more institutions showing their 13Fs, showing that they are buying into Lucid. And you can see based on the green right here, a lot are getting in. And I have been saying ever since September 1st, since obviously the lockout ended, there was a substantial discount. And I even said that same day, and you can definitely go back and check, I said, hands down, there's going to be a lot of institutions that were buying this, and obviously that, like largely a lot of these here, were the reasons why we got out as fast as we did. Especially looking at that, I think there was 149 million shares being traded that day, as you can see. Whereas normally, if you look back, 11. Right now, 149 is like, yeah, whatever. That's a typical day for us now. But back then, that was substantial. And you can even see right now, Blackstone, 8.3 million shares being purchased. As you can see, it's green. Charles Schwab, 1.1 million. Then there's Jane Street, again, doing that the fun strategy as far as actual share ownership, calls and puts. And that's been a very common thing as far as a lot of institutions and hedge funds is doing this strategy. But the common thing is among them all, they are very heavily weighted on the calls. You can see 4.2 million call options, whereas on the puts, 2.2. And that's everywhere. You can definitely see that hands down. There's a lot of institutions that are physically doing that. Obviously, there's some that are physically getting out, but regardless, this is a lot of support and attributing like big factor why the volume is as much as it is. Keep in mind, all these purchases were for the 3 months prior, right? Just because they have the 13F right now and that they filed means nothing. Ultimately, it just shows that it doesn't mean it was yesterday or today or whatever it was. It was over the 3 month period. They just obviously are disclosing it now. So that, just want to bring that to your attention. I don't know if a lot of individuals actually know that. But hands down, I wish I could give you a better explanation on why Lucid is down as much as it is. Ultimately, it's just the technicals. It's a technical driven sell-off. And you can even see, unfortunately, largely because of Rivian. And I'm sure a lot of individuals physically got into Rivian, made a lot of money. I'm not doubting that, whatever. But Rivian definitely has, as far as a questionable evaluation, I guess that's a nice way of putting it, especially making no vehicles, right? Yeah, hands down. So the valuation on that and a lot of EVs became into question. In my opinion, I don't feel it's justified or right that that Lucid is grouped in with those. With Tesla, Rivian, and all those other EVs are surging. I don't think that Lucid should be classified and grouped in with them because especially for those that have been watching my channel or just watching Lucid in general, there's been so many catalysts day after day when it comes to Lucid that it's crazy. And it's the fact that like every week there's been, like, even over this time period, there's been almost a catalyst to look forward to. Obviously, prior to this, there was October the 30th, and then there was obviously their upcoming earnings. And even before that, then they started to hint about partnerships as far as a $25,000 vehicle. They've been bringing up so many different things over the last little bit. And then obviously Peter is very good at PR. So hands down, I don't feel that Lucid is overvalued whatsoever. So this is why, in my opinion, when it comes to Lucid, and I've been saying quite a lot, and especially in the comments, a lot of people say that they want to take profits and they want to buy when it's cheaper or buy the dip. This is the dip, hands down. Don't expect much more from this because, especially with Lucid, there's so much more future expectations based on everything that's happening right now. that hands down, this is going to be the next Tesla. This is going to follow the same steps, the same paths that Tesla did. And I'm sure we all know that and are like, obviously back then when Tesla came out, people were a lot more skeptical, right? And whereas now people know Lucid, especially when it comes to Lucid as well. If you have been following along, they have not let investors down whatsoever. If anything, to me personally as well, they've exceeded my expectations 100%. Very beautiful car. And not only that, they're very active on Twitter, on every social media whatsoever. And that is the key, getting it out there. They are doing a phenomenal job all around, especially their earnings. Their earnings, obviously, I was expecting a little bit more guidance on several things, but when they did actually submit it on November the 16th, they had their prospectus. So they raised, obviously, raising capital. And there's several different things that you can definitely think of firsthand is obviously manufacturing facilities. And I have done, especially looking at the chart as well, there's a lot of good things going for it. And I'm just going to show you some stuff right here. But as far as, here, I'll just pull this up right now. So, and obviously there's been a couple of things that even I've covered as well, why Lucid can easily be a $200 stock next year, is the fact is that they have their Saudi Arabia facility that they want to open by 2024. They need capital for that. They need to do dilutions and things like that. And one thing I want, like, this is amazing and a nice little pop going on here. So 1.3 billion shares of Class A, 44.3 million warrants. And not only that, then grouping it in with the form, obviously the quarterly results as well. Brilliant. It's very good. And yeah, honestly, I can't speak more on that, but definitely take a look at a lot of my other videos as well. There is a lot driving this rally, and I've brought up almost every video as well, short interest. Again, short interest isn't really relevant when it comes to Lucid because it's not going to have a short squeeze whatsoever. I bring this up simply to see what the other counterparties are doing. So right now, I'll just make this a little bit clearer. So 8.03 is the estimated short interest on Lucid as of right now. Utilization is 5309. Day by day change, it was negative 2.87, which works out to be 1.16 million shares being returned. So overall, it is looking fairly good. It was a nice little pop going on here. So shorts were increasing briefly. Obviously, you can see a week by week change. It did increase by 10%. But that's obviously surrounding the earnings, right? Earnings, definitely if there was going to be a time period, a pivotal time period where Lucid would even break this trend, it was going to be their earnings. And shorts definitely knew that. So in reality, earnings, in my opinion, came as expected. They did provide a lot of good guidance as well, a lot of good reservations. So overall, a lot of good things when it comes to Lucid. And so in my opinion, over the next little bit, I do anticipate shorts closing their position, most likely to around about the 4%, 4 to 6% is ideal. And typically, just looking at Tesla right now, so looking at Tesla, you can see the short interest is typically what you want is around the 4%. And so right now Tesla is 3.27. But you can definitely see this. This is one thing when I was kind of vaguely looking around, short interest on Tesla did increase a day by day change by 12%. So again, I don't know if that goes back to this component where typically a lot of the broader consensus of individuals are saying that Rivian and Tesla are overvalued. So if you do consider that, and especially what I just showed you about Lucid being negative as far as short interest, this is why I like to look at multiple different things, piece everything together, and you kind of get a good representation of everything you need to know, especially looking at volume, indicators at the technical stance, at short interest, everything gives you a good representation. So looking at this right now, there does show that obviously if I was to look at this, Tesla is most likely overvalued. And even that's kind of the common news that's happening, right? So unfortunately, Lucid is just getting grouped in the broader stance of that. But there is a lot of good things, especially going for Lucid, because right now, foreseeable, unless obviously there's the remaining 2021 undelivered vehicles that they still have to do, which obviously that could be a good catalyst, a lot more good catalyst as far as Lucid still to buy in as of right now. So obviously I do anticipate more and more hedge funds and institutions still buying. Despite this run up, it is still a good buying opportunity as of right now, in conjunction with ultimately just good technicals overall. So looking at some of the actual technicals now, I have the 50, 100, and 200-day moving averages as well as Bollinger Bands. And you can see RSI, stochastic, and momentum. So overall, pretty good representation of everything you need to know. One concerning fact that I did see that came from today, despite the huge volume. So again, 188 million shares being traded as of right now. But there's this little blip going on here, and it definitely shows that there is less buyers physically getting in. So whether that is going to continue, unfortunately I can't tell. Hopefully tomorrow it does pick back up, but regardless, obviously it shows that number of buyers are definitely not getting in. So this is where, again, I like to piece everything together, right? So like looking at momentum indicator is fine and dandy and everything like that. But if you piece that together with the volume, so substantially higher volume, lower number of buyers. So again, I'm a big numbers guy. So that's just a simple equation, right? So number of buyers are lower, volume is higher, shows that bigger whales per se, or whatever you want to call them, institutions are buying today. Hands down. So this is why, again, I like to piece multiple things together. So big players are physically getting into Lucid. They know to buy the dip, as you should. Unfortunately, it's typically the retail investor that kind of gets screwed at the end because they get kind of played in many different ways. So this is why you always have to do your due diligence, everything like that. Right now, RSI and stochastic are fairly neutral. This is one of the first times that RSI hasn't had a nice little rally, because typically when the black line is above the red line, there is a little bit of a deviation. It shows a upward trend. So that is definitely coming, but right now it's a little bit overvalued. So again, this is why, in conjunction with all this news, like I already mentioned with other EVs, Lucid is kind of getting dragged down, because as far as some of their indicators, they are fairly high, right? And as much as this looks sexy, this isn't realistic. This isn't realistic to continue this route for quite some time. And that's why for my price prediction, a lot when I gave it on last weekend to end this Friday, I did put down $48 because I did anticipate some obviously volatility when it comes to their earnings, but it most likely will settle between probably the $48 to $50 range. Regardless though, like I've mentioned in multiple videos, that is healthy for the long-term health of the stock. Up and down, that's what happens, right? So with that said, I'm just going to transition and I'll just look at some of the comments, see if there is anything. What up, vets? Nice to see ya. Also, I don't think I said, if you guys haven't already, smash the thumbs up, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. I appreciate all that. Do you have the Ortex data for Lucid? Yes, I did. I can pull that up. Okay, so right now, Lucid, so in case nothing really updated for there's some basic news. Short interest, in case you were wondering today. One moment. So it does look like a negative 3% overall. Overall, I still feel that the EV bubble, or I guess bubble if you want to call it that, the thing is, the stock market and everything, you get a high valuation on future tech, right? So when it comes to all EVs, it's like the high importance on tech, right? So there's a high evaluation placed on that and a high multiple based on that as well. So yeah. So as far as it being a bubble, I don't think it's a bubble. I think it's just more people don't know what to put a price on that tech. So as far as how many vehicles do I think is delivered, obviously I believe it was 65 on October the 30th. Based on what I can see, the 2 delivery events was in total about 20, so probably less than 100. not ideal considering they were expected to do 520 in 2021. So they definitely need to get their ass in gear for the remaining little bit. But with that said, though, I'm just going to conclude that, and I appreciate all you guys to take the time to go through this with me. I'm going to start doing more and more lives, so definitely you can stay tuned for that. Thanks, guys.